Electronic. In this 21st century, we have a new way of marketing. And it's very important that small businesses have a website. People rely upon the internet to conduct most of the research. In fact, one survey showed that most consumers, nearly 97% of all consumers, do some kind of internet search before they go into a purchase. So one of the most important things you need to be looking at is domain names availability. Can you find a domain that's related to your business or product or service? Or do you need to buy multiple domains such as with a .com, .net, .org so that you can help many doorways come into your web traffic? There are many different ways of getting into a website. You could hire a professional developer, which is always the best. But if you're going to do it yourself, there are many do-it-yourself sites that are very low cost, such as one that's offered through Google through the GYBO, which stands for Get Your Business Online, which is a product through Homestead, or GoDaddy is another affordable feature that's out there. So lots of different ways that you can get your business onto the net without costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, if you are involved in e-commerce and almost all of your sales are going to transact from that, you might need a professional to help you develop that professional looking commerce site to make it easy for your customers to find your product, go through a shopping cart, and pay for their merchandise. Also related to electronic marketing is email. This has now emerged as one of the most common and most acceptable forms of communication. However, avoid the free mail such as Google Mail or Gmail. But if you do use it, go ahead and opt for an address that includes your domain. So you don't want an email address that says mycompany@gmail.com. What you want is an email that says info@mycompany.com. See the difference is Google doesn't want you to promote their site. They want you to be promoting your own site. You need to be thinking about your email of how can I use this in my electronic campaigns? How often am I going to communicate to my customers or potential customers through broadcast emails or newsletters? Similarly, we have other mechanisms for reaching our customers through webinars or online demonstrations. These can be taped or they can be wholly interactive. This is a brand new way of interacting with your customers. You can actually use many different video chat schemes to talk to your customers and help train them. Most importantly, when you're doing electronic information, you want to keep that information update. A lot of the search engines like updated information, and so when you update your website or your videos, by keeping those fresh and updated with content, you're more likely to be found on the internet. Social marketing, probably the newest phenomenon that is happening with marketing, and there are lots of different venues of doing marketing. But let's take a look at what that really means. One of my favorite videos that I have is from called The Social Revolution, that is by Eric Qualman. And Eric began this series, and I'd like to share this with you if I may. It's a fascinating video about this social media revolution. I don't want you to get the idea that this is the only component that you should have as your marketing strategy, but a component that should be part of your marketing strategy. You can't do everything at once. You have to pick and choose your battles. Other things to be thinking about, though, in social media is I want to show you an example of how one George's businesses did find the right venues to use for their business.
Fuego Mundo means world of fire in a Spanglish kind of way. Fuego Mundo is a one-of-a-kind restaurant. We've combined some of the healthiest flavors and foods of South America in an authentic way, but also in a healthy way.
Free marketing on the web is a way to interact with customers without paying, so that's the beauty of it. There's multiple ways you can do free marketing, one of which would be to connect directly through a social network.
Social media is critically important for us. It helped us to get the word out about the restaurant before we even opened. We use social media in a unique way to name our restaurant because we bounced back and forth with a potential name for months. When we were kind of bottlenecked, we put it out there and it came back 70% Fuego Mundo.
Advice I would give to a small business owner is to look at where your customers are, try to reach out to them, and then do a lot of research to figure out how you can maximize the different free marketing options to reach out to these customers.
We attacked social media on various different fronts. We kind of started with Twitter, and when we opened, we started with some tweet-ups, one of the first in Atlanta, and that's become a monthly event now. A tweet-up is another way of saying a meetup. And it's for people that use Twitter and want to meet face-on and network. My favorite tweet-up was probably the one in December that combined a champagne tasting with a punk rock tweet-up. And it brought over 150 people from Atlanta, different parts of Georgia. And I heard there were some people that came from Canada as well. Facebook is critically important to Fuego Mundo because we like to interact with our consumers one-on-one and get valuable feedback. When we were launching soups, we were deciding between 5 different soups, and we gave them a whole weekend to try the soups for free, and a video and pictures online. And as a result, we now have Latin vegetable, cream of asparagus, and a sweet plantain soup on the menu.
A lot of the free marketing options that are out there now that are used by companies prevalently are pretty simple. There's so many options out there that even if you aren't a tech junkie, you can actually find an easy solution for you.
If we had to stop all this social media, it would probably be a disaster because that's where the future is.
Let me share with you one of the secrets of social media, and you saw that from both those videos, is that don't think of social media as a platform for selling. It's a platform for engagement and education. When you engage your customers, they have an opportunity to become more loyal, to be part of your business family. It's not always an easy thing to transact the sale. We're saying, here's the product, turn over the money. It's more of a development tool. So when you think about social media, think about it as a customer development tool, not a sales tool. And that is one of the keys, because you'll see most people and most businesses don't use that social media for selling purposes. That everything is not just a commercial message. What's the secret of marketing is answering that question, what's in it for me? Because that's what your customers are always thinking, what's in it for me? Finally, another component within your marketing plan is a public relations strategy. Public relations is when you send a message to a third party that they in turn can convey that message out to their viewerships or readerships. But you've got to give a compelling story to those media outlets of why they should carry that story. Remember, they're not in the business for selling your product or service. That's what the advertising venue is for. But they want to carry news or information that is important to their readers or viewers or listeners. And one of the great things that happens is this can be an implied endorsement. But you've got to convey the information. Be ready with a press release that you can send out to the media. And the media might include your local newspaper or larger newspaper, local magazine, or a trade association. All of these things usually have publications or even online publications now that you can help tell the story, that they can help tell your story to everybody else. But keep in mind, public relations can be just as effectively strong promotion for you as it can be negative. And you need to be ready to respond to any kind of negative publicity. And that's one of the advantages of public relations. It can overcome some of the negativity that might be out there that other people might be selling or saying about your particular business. Finally, another component when it comes to promotion is sales promotion. This is happening at the point of contact with the customers, such as a point of purchase display or POP. Is can you create a venue within the store, within that shelf, that attracts a customer, wants them to engage with your product or call up that service? So you could think of, how can I make that retailer more successful by building in these point of purchase displays or doing an in-store demonstration. There have been many different demonstrations I've seen. I've seen a chiropractor giving free back adjustments in a local grocery store, demonstrating their products. They're going in there for free, giving up their time, but by showing how their product or service works, that might induce people into trial. Handing out samples can be an effective way. And where you hand out samples could be just as effective, like at a trade show. So you might want to think about your local business exposition that might be put on by the chamber or some other trade association, particularly if the people there are your target audience or your target customers. That can be a wonderful way of promoting your product or service out there. Or by offering premiums, gift with purchase. Other things that can induce the sale are all part of the sales promotion process. Couponing, both in print form and electronic form, is still a very popular way. Or contests. We've seen contests on social media sites such as Facebook's, or doing traditional raffles to get people interested or know about your products. Or creating special awards for your employees or your vendors or your customers is a great way of recognizing their efforts. Or by organizing customer service training there at your place, or actually providing training online about how to use your product or how to use your product or service in a different way than they may not have thought of before. So building a good marketing plan, you got to think about the product. What is this unique selling proposition? What's the difference between its top features versus its benefits? Meaning the features are what people buy. The benefits are why people buy it. And you should know that there are probably 3 distinguishable characteristics that separate the features from the benefits, all to develop that unique selling proposition. How is it that my product or service is going to stand out differently than the other choices that are available to my customers? Other things to consider is what we call the Perotti rule, or the 80-20 rule, is that 80% of your customers can be found in that 20% of that segment. So that segment by geography or socioeconomic factors or psychographic factors will help you give you a better target and utilize your marketing resources of your time and talent and treasures better. So try to find, where is that 20%? 20% of your customers can be found in one of that segment, and those 20% usually account for 80% of your sales. What resources do I have committed or do I need to commit? Can you develop a budget and stay on budget and put the time necessary? Like if you're going to do a big social media campaign in Facebook, do you have the time it takes to post up on Facebook and post pictures and videos and make that happen? Or if you can't do it, could you find somebody else who could help you do those kind of entries? What mediums match your goals? Meaning, what mediums are available for carrying my message? Is that a local newspaper or homeowners newsletter a good medium that matches my goal because it matches up to where my target audience is? Doing a newspaper ad in a major city newspaper may not be the best efforts if all of your customers can be found in a certain zip code. You've just put most of your marketing dollars in a segment outside of your target area. Another effective thing for your marketing is to develop a 12-month calendar. And in that calendar, you put together, okay, what are my sales goals? Then what are my activities I have planned? For instance, in this planning calendar, we're going to do newspaper ads 2 times in a 2-week segment in January, 3 times in January, 4 times in March, and then drop off in April. Similarly, we're going to distribute some flyers in February, concentrated efforts in March with nothing in April. We're planning to have an exhibit, maybe at a local trade show in April. We're going to do press releases kind of related up to that trade show, and we're planning on doing chamber events throughout the year. Similarly to these activities, we're going to match these up with what does it cost. So that newspaper campaign, that's a $1,000 campaign over the next 4 months. Or that exhibit, that's a $1,500 commitment that you might be paying for in January, but the show may not be happening until April. Or you've hired an outside PR person to help promote your story, and you put together a budget for paying that person for putting those stories out to the media. And you plan to go to maybe different networking events sponsored by the chamber. Put these into your promotional calendar and into your promotional budget. It utilizes your time better, but it helps you plan out the kinds of activities you want to have happen so that you're accomplishing the goals you set out to do for yourself. So for creating effective marketing, you've got to be consistent in the overall message that's matched up to your overall business plan. You decide what image and perceptions people are going to hold. You help shape that. And if people aren't holding the images and perceptions you hope they do, you need to do something to help change their perceptions. You know, it's kind of be said that there's no such thing as reality. It's only what people perceive it to be. And that's kind of true in marketing, is you might have a better product, but if people don't think it's better, don't think it's cheaper, don't think it's easier to get, they're not going to think that way about your product or service. You got to create a budget with those timelines or deadlines. When am I going to do these certain marketing events? Establish measurable goals. Like if I want to increase my my website activity, what is an increase? 1 more visitor, 10 more visitors, 1,000 more visitors? What is your goal? How would you go about measuring your web activity? You got to be creative in your delivery. You got to do different things at different times to these different audiences to get that overall marketing effect that you're trying to do. And the critical thing is you got to review and revise your plan. Not everything works the same way, same time, like you want it to do. You got to stay on top of your marketing efforts and have a pulse on what is happening out there. So some key things to keep in mind is, yes, sales are important, but that's not the only measure of if your marketing is working. If your marketing was designed to get you more phone calls and you are getting more phone calls, but your sales are not increasing, then the activity that you did to get more sales calls worked. There's something happening on your phone efforts or in that personal selling effort. So maybe that might mean, gee, I might need to develop a script or a better storyline to help people step through the sales process. So you keep the campaign going to generate the phone calls. You provide sales training to the people answering the phone to get the convergence of that sales. Always compare your budget to your actual budget of time and money to what you actually spent in time and money. By doing this, you will get better at budgeting, and you will find that over time that your budgets get very close to what your actual performance is. Analyze as your cost per sale. How much does it cost for my marketing efforts to generate my sales? Or is it easier when I'm comparing cost per click if I'm doing online advertising? How much does it cost for a click, and how much does that generate for a lead? Establish those benchmarks or baselines to compare over time. A critical element we see all the time is people want more activity off of their website. Well, a critical element is, well, what does your web traffic show? So a lot of times that means installing Google Analytics so you get a baseline of what your activity is, and then you're able to trace the organic as well as your paid marketing to your website. Marketing, hate to say it, is trial and effort. So you have to try it and see if it works, and if it didn't, you've got to figure out what didn't work and try again. So all of this gets into a marketing plan. A marketing plan is a written document that states what are you trying to do, what are the strategies that you're doing to hit you to your objectives, what particular tactics and budgets do you have in place to make these things happen the way you want them to happen. So let's talk about how do we take this theory about marketing and put it into practical practice. Well, let me give you a few low-cost offline techniques. An in-store photo board, or this could be a catalog or photo album that you carry with you for your sales presentations. Magnetic signs for your car is a very inexpensive way to help promote your product or service. Even classified ads in your local paper can be a very low-cost technique. I mentioned about trade shows such as your local business exposition or your industry trade show, particularly if those are hitting upon where your customers are going. We mentioned about doing demonstrations, coupons, both electronic and in print. Become that expert commentary. Have that media consultant, that media reporter turn to you for that expert commentary. Distribute flyers. There are lots of inexpensive ways of not only printing flyers, but getting these flyers distributed. And probably your number one marketing tool is your business cards. And a lot of people don't think about their business cards as a marketing tool. But really, think about your business cards as a billboard. In about 2 seconds, they're going to convey a message about you and your business. And so it's critical that it has how you want people to get in touch with you. Most assuredly, probably by email. Most common form of communication that's out there, as well as your website. Nowadays, you may not even need your physical address, especially if your customers are never coming to you. They don't need your physical address. They want what is the easiest way, a phone number, email, and a website, and that's all you need. Make it kind of interesting. Why would somebody want to hold on to your card or even pass it along to somebody else? And make it easy to read. Make sure your fonts are not too small that the average consumer can't read it. I know you want to get all this information onto your business card, but it needs to be readable and something they want to use. And don't forget, business cards have two sides, so you can use the front and the back to help convey your message. Now let me give you a few low-cost online techniques. Do a photo slideshow on your website, or you can do online classified ads, or develop a Twitter campaign. Create a LinkedIn page. Go and post blog comments on other blog sites, or create your own blog sites and encourage your customers to post comments. Use online coupons. You can create your own coupons from your Google Places page and help promote your product or service through this free web service. Testimonials are a critical element, not only in print, but nowadays we see companies with video testimonials to have their customers share the good news. We mentioned about your website is a critical element of communicating to your customers today. Doing a Facebook campaign, or at least a Facebook page for your company, or we mentioned about video demonstrations. In fact, let's see how one company did video demonstrations.
Skaters Landing is a nationwide retailer and e-tailer of ice skates, products, and services for the figure skating industry with the tagline, everything for skaters, just add ice. We take advantage of free marketing online, and we do have a full e-commerce site called skaterslanding.com.
When we invite customers into our brick and mortar stores, it's a living room. And we want to create that content online and that feeling like you can come here and we can give you the knowledge you need to get into this great sport.
Some of the steps I took to be on the web were actually getting pushed by an employee who was really zealous and had a lot of passion for the web.
I helped get Skaters Landing on the web first by building their new website, which is up right now at skaterslanding.com. And that was really great because it divided products into categories that were user-friendly and that people could navigate through and really learn a lot about what they were buying. When Twitter and Facebook became more popular, especially on the business front, we took Skaters Landing right into those platforms, which gave us the ability to speak to many more of our audience out there that weren't in our brick and mortar stores or able to visit them.
We really were able to reach out to new markets. I don't look at them as a place to go to and hard sell, but to really talk with people, answer some of the questions that people have.
Recently, we launched SkatersLandingTV.com, which has been an even greater way to show people what we do in the stores every day.
Skaters Landing TV is a streaming web channel with about 16 videos a month. They're very informative. They're kind of fun. I call them edutainment, teaching families that don't know anything about skating how to find skates through to understanding what a proper skate sharpening is.
I upload a video to YouTube, I carry that over to our platform via Yahoo, and it's there streaming.
They're a $0 entry game.
That's why it's called free marketing. And with so many platforms available now, it's really a no-brainer for a business owner to go in and see exactly what's business specific to them. I can do it in my pajamas at home at whatever time I wake up in the morning.
The best thing about free marketing is the fact that it is free, and for small businesses who are very budget conscious, this provides them with the opportunity to really have a voice online. So there's multiple ways you can do free marketing. Connect directly through a social network. Also, you can blog and have other users come and find you. Try to understand where your customers are online, and then do a lot of research to figure out how you can maximize the different free marketing options to reach out to these customers.
I think it is very important to have visuals and video content on a website. People who provide good information and have a good personality will prove to be pioneers and leaders as the web becomes more sophisticated.
Great. So we saw how a local business was able to use different facets of video to help engage their customers. They gave them product knowledge, even knowledge that they could have used to go and buy their skates somewhere else. But they became the trusted source, the trusted expert that people time and time again are going to turn to. Yes, they're going to lose a few customers to their competitors, but they're going to win over the majority of those viewers into their shops. That's what you got to remember. You're not going to win all. You want to win the majority of folks. So a few more techniques that you can incorporate into your marketing strategy. Uniforms. These could be logo uniforms, polo shirts with just your logo. But I actually was dealing with somebody that had an antique store. And she used to dress in vintage clothing every single day. She would pull dresses off of her vintage rack, and she was always in vintage garb. That's her uniform. Kind of related to uniforms, especially if you have a retail store, is a name tag. Help tell your customers what's the difference between a sales associate who can help them in the store and a customer. Door hangers. When you go and visit somebody, leave a message that you were there. Make sure do not put it into the mailbox. But as you're doing your visitations, you can also visit one particular business or residence. Make sure you go to the businesses adjacent and across the street. Gas is expensive. If you're already making a sales call or a cold call, visit 4 other places just adjacent to them. Sticky notes. These are those pads that can be embossed with your own logo or image. These make for great add specialty items. Mention about newsletters. It used to be newsletters were printed and mailed, and now you can make these electronically and virtually free to distribute. But I do recommend utilizing an email service such as a Constant Contact or MailChimp. Grocery store bulletin boards. We don't see that as much as we used to, but there are some venues that still have up bulletin boards that can be great opportunities for promoting your product or service. Co-op advertising. Co-op advertising is maybe some of your vendors, your suppliers might share in your advertising cost. So ask some of your vendors about any cooperative advertising. A lot of times by identifying their company with their name or logo, they can help pay for part of your advertising expenditure. If you're a retail location, changing out your windows displays frequently encourages people to look into your store and see what is new. Another strategy is odd-end pricing. Rather than something costing $10, we might say it's $9.99 or $9.95. That odd-end pricing strategy is a very good discount connotation that might show somebody that there's added value in that pricing strategy. Or using ad specialties. Ad specialties is when you emboss your name or logo on different products. And I love ad specialties. But what I encourage you to do is merchandise your product. Think about a product that could help promote your store. Like, it doesn't do much for a coffee shop to have pens and pencils with their names on it. But with mugs embossed with their name, makes more sense for that coffee shop to use that as their ad specialty item. And they don't have to be expensive. A lot of times you can ask for a yearly sales volume and then take distribution throughout the year. That might be a way of saving money. Be creative. I think that's probably the most important aspect about marketing is how creative you can be to help convey your message. You need to find a way to stick out from the 3,000 marketing messages that everybody sees. Try to create a buzz, a stir, as we say, disrupt the marketplace by using your own creativity. Some other guerrilla marketing examples, as you can see with these photographs, is these were small businesses that did something to stand out from the crowd, like the karate studio that had the arm that came from their parking lot, or how UPS did a graphic in the tile of a local plaza. Different things to shake things up to get people talking about it. So the critical elements of marketing. First, it takes time, it takes money, it takes your commitment. One time does not solve all of your marketing issues or woes. It's a long-term process, and you got to be prepared for the long haul. You've got to be consistent. Your messages need to be the same in all the different media, meaning the colors you use on your website are the same colors you use on your stationery and in your business cards. Keep your logo designs consistent and constant, same kind of themes. Use the same fonts that you do on your business cards as you do on your website. And focus on the customers. It's what they think that's important, not necessarily what you think is important. So a marketing review. Marketing is everything you do. It's different for every kind of business depending upon the circumstances of their budget, how new they are into the market, the competition that is out there. It's better to focus on the parts and the whole. Remember that Perotti rule, that 80-20 rule? Focus on where that 20% of your customers are. Target your marketing towards that 20%. You've got to do different things towards that 20%. So you've got to be prepared for different kinds of things, from email to your website to phone calls to being friendly in the store. You've got to do different things at different times to engage your customers. And you've got to measure your success. You'll never know how good your marketing is unless you measure your progress so that you are tracking to where you want to be in your marketing. And remember, marketing is a process, not an event. An ad is an event. It is not marketing it by itself. It's just one component of the whole marketing process. I hope you've enjoyed this segment of our business series. Remind you about our other segments that are contained in the Launch Your Business, which is including starting a business, financing a new business, writing a business plan, and our program that you just completed, Marketing Strategies. You can find us on the social sites on Facebook and on Twitter, and we encourage you to give us a follow. For further assistance, we encourage you to contact your local Georgia Small Business Development Center. We have 16 offices around the state of Georgia, and there's a network of SBDCs around the country. But if the Kennesaw State University SBDC could be of service to you, please visit our website or give us a call. We thank you and we encourage you. Be successful in your business.